Disclaimer: all views expressed on What Makes Us Fire are solely those of the person or persons giving them. What Makes Us Fire does not represent or claim to represent any particular city or fire department, and therefore make the claim that all views and standpoints are affiliated with What Makes Us Fire and with What Makes Us Fire only. Any mention of certain fire departments or cities within the interviews are solely for informational and opinion based dialogue. In short, if you have a problem with what's published, just say something about it and don't be a Richard.
What's up, What Makes Us Fire Family? How we doing out there? Hey, today's episode, I have a very special guest. Of course, all my guests are special. Today, we have Nick Hammond. He is a firefighter that has found a pretty cool niche on TikTok. He's showing the background, the behind the scenes of what it is like to be a firefighter in his department. And really, to be a firefighter in any department. He's giving you guys a look into the lives of what it is and what we do and how we just be. He's also putting out some pretty awesome stuff when it comes to cooking. If you guys didn't know it, firefighters like to cook. And we love to eat. Especially when we have somebody that knows how to cook. Nick's followed by Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay only follows like 40 people, and Nick's one of them. That's awesome. So, we're going to talk about that a little bit. We go through everything. We go through his faith. We go through what it's like for him as a firefighter and what he believes it means to be a firefighter. And of course, we talk about a little bit of his cooking. So, you guys sit back, relax, hang out, enjoy the show, enjoy Mr. Nick Hammond. What Makes Us Fire Family? Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Nick Hammond, the firefighter chef. All right, man, there it is. We're recording.
All right.
Nick, brother, thank you
sir.
so much for coming on to What Makes Us Fire, man. I appreciate having you. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you? It's been a long night, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, did you work last night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Long. One of them nights, I think it was like 6 runs after midnight.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
Yeah, it sucks. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let the audience know how I contacted you. Okay. Everybody knows I'm a firefighter on the show. And if everybody doesn't know who you are, which I'm sure they will, because a lot of your followers are going to listen to this podcast, I'm sure. But this is Nick. He is what I like to call a TikTok firefighter, or a firefighter of TikTok. You will see that hashtag on, I'm sure, some of his videos. And Nick likes to share his day at the department. And he likes to cook quite a bit, looks tasty. And he likes to post stuff that he's working out a lot. You can tell. He's a very sexy man right there. And he's been putting light on the fire department. He has been doing what I've been trying to do on this platform, and he is humanizing firefighters. He is showing that we are all different, and I fucking love it. And so when I saw him on TikTok, and yes, all my listeners know that I've been finding a lot of my guests on TikTok, but I tell you what, you find a shit ton of badass influencers, people making a fucking difference on TikTok, and Nick is one of them. So I messaged him while he was doing a live, and he agreed to come on, and here we are.
Here we are.
You've never heard of What Makes Us Fire before I started trolling you on your live, huh?
No, sir.
No.
When this is going to sound lame, but the only podcast, I used to be in the show called The Bachelor.
Oh, God.
I did one season. I did one season with, remember Colt, the guy who was like,
I don't watch that. I don't watch the show. But yeah,
Okay.
maybe the audience does. Maybe the
They
audience
probably do.
does.
Anyway, so I watched like 3 episodes, and I'm like, I must know what happens. And I started listening to some of the podcasts with him coming on, and I was more or less either making fun of him or like saying, "Yep, I agree." Or yeah, anyways, fun facts.
So you saw a guy on The Bachelor, the TV show, and he had a podcast, so you decided to start listening to him.
Yeah.
You listen to Joe Rogan. He is like
No,
the number one podcaster out there.
I've heard about him. I do listen to some Rush Limbaugh at times.
Yeah, he's more radio. He's more radio.
Yeah.
But
Well, my grandfather, I grew up kind of listening to him. My grandfather watched him. My dad listens to him. Excuse me. And I listen to some of them, and I'll listen to some of the NFL podcasts as far as getting ready for fantasy.
okay.
Especially
You
like, go ahead.
you sound like a good old boy that hunts, huh?
I used to be big into hunting. I mean, I used to, when I was 16, 18 years old, I'd I'd get out of school and I'd go straight to the deer stand. But then I started working more, and you know how the fire department is. It's pretty much
Yeah.
always working or doing something. If you're not working, you're at the house getting caught up. So I do more fishing than anything. Catfish, especially catfishing and bass fishing.
All right. You ever do any noodling?
Not yet, but it's one of my on my bucket list.
Yeah. I don't know about that, man. I see a bunch of people sticking their hands in the big fish's fucking mouths, and I don't know. It'd be my luck that that fish had some razor sharp teeth or something. I
We
know they
run into
don't, but
we run into burning buildings and run into some of the most hostile territories in the country. I ain't worried. I ain't scared of losing a finger.
yeah, I ain't scared of. I mean, okay, you know what? I'm not very scared of very many things. I'm not afraid of dying, but there are certain ways that I don't want to die. Like I don't want to die by getting eaten by anything. So, like, I mean, if it happens, I guess that's the way it was meant to go. But nah, if I could keep myself away from that, I mean, I'll do it because I want to try it, but once I do it that one time, I probably won't ever have to do it again.
Yeah, my
But
brother.
I'm big into hunting, so.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love hunt. I mean, I try to hunt. I mean, I hunt maybe I don't know 3 or 4 times a year, and
You
yeah,
need
I
to
don't come.
listen to Steve Rhinella Meat Eater podcast if you like hunting and fishing.
Oh yeah, is that the
Yeah,
guy that had the Netflix show?
yeah. He has
Oh
a
yeah,
he has a podcast,
yeah.
and
No, that guy's cool.
yeah, and it's called the Meat Eater podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Steve
Mm-hmm.
Rhinella. He's also on Joe Rogan show quite a bit as well. But
Sweet.
anyway, why don't you go ahead and let the audience know kind of like where you're from, what area you kind of work in. Don't tell us the department or anything, but what area you work in, how long you've been working, but where are you from, where you grew up.
So I'm from North Carolina. I'm more towards the southeast. I'm about 2 hours from the South Carolina line. Maybe I wouldn't even say that. Maybe an hour and 20 minutes from the south of the border.
Mm-hmm.
I got into the firefighting when I was 16. Junior firefighter program. Well, my brother actually got me into firefighting because he was the volunteer at our local department,
Mm-hmm.
and I just walked in, and it kind of took off from there, and learned about the career aspect wise as this you can make a decent living, you get benefits are decent, state retirement, and it's a great job field, and that was the path I kind of took down. I tried the community college route. College algebra is really, really hard, and I got to the point where I was just like, I'm going to work.
Right.
And
So you didn't grow up thinking like being a firefighter what you were going to do or wanted to do.
when I was probably a junior going into my senior year, I had to start thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to be the next 10, 15 years? And I just started laying it out. I'm like, all right, we're going to go down the firefighter path, and we're going to see how that goes. And obviously it stuck, which is awesome. I love my job, and
Right.
I love the people I work with. So Yeah, I mean, and I live in a little small town, just outside of the county I work in.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a 15-minute drive to work, which is not bad at all. I live in a agricultural farm district of about probably 500. So,
Oh wow. So how big is your department? I'm assuming fairly small then.
no, our department is 17. We have 17 fire stations,
Okay. Damn.
and yeah, I think don't even get me. I don't know about the personnel. I can't wrap my head around it because I don't know. It's over maybe 500 employees within
Damn.
the city department between firefighters, between suppression, admin, inspectors. We have a few civilian employees, like office employees, like secretaries and stuff like that.
Right.
So we're a pretty good size, and we're class one ISO,
Nice.
the whole shebang of bang. We're nationally accredited. We got all the patches and the medals and whatever you want to call it. I mean, I would put our department up against anybody. If you're gonna come here and tell me, we can outdo you, bring it on.
Right.
Because one thing we're good at what we do. I will say that.
Hell yeah. I think most firefighters are going to have that sentiment about the department they work for, especially if it's a department that it's their first department and they haven't moved around quite a bit.
Right.
They've been able to see it grow. How long have you been in the fire department in your current fire department?
I've been there. I just hit my 6 year mark this past August,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a master firefighter step 2 for because you got step 2 as far as your pay increases.
Right. Oh, those are all state certifications, correct? Or state? No.
So the way the advancement program works is so when I got hired by my department, I came in as a fully certified firefighter 1 and 2 is what we call it. I was
Mm-hmm.
a state certified EMT, state certified rescue tech, and a driver operator, pumps, the whole nine. I had just about everything.
Did you get your IFSAC seals and your national registry?
I did not get my national registry.
But you got your IFSAC?
I got those. So, and
And sorry, for everybody that doesn't know what IFSAC is, just real quick, sorry to interrupt. IFSAC is just an accreditation that allows you to take your firefighter certification to other states that allow IFSAC to be in place of the state's requirements to be a firefighter in that state. So if you have an IFSAC seal, they'll be like, oh, okay, you have that. Then you don't necessarily need the state certifications because IFSAC covers those state certifications. That's all that is. So I know we're throwing out a bunch of terminology. Just want everybody to know what that is. So you did get your IFSAC. So if you did wanted to move to a different state, you would have your fire certification, assuming that state allowed you to use your IFSAC. So that's cool.
I know South Carolina. I know South Carolina recognizes ours because we're neighboring states.
Right, right. So how old are you, man? You've been in the department for 6 years. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
You're 30? Oh, okay. You're not too much younger than I am. You're only 5 years younger than I am, so that's not a big deal. So you started at about 24. That's about when I started.
Mm-hmm.
It's about when I started mine. I just passed my 11th year. Actually, I'm about to hit my 11th year on November 9th. And that's how long I've been with my department that I'm currently on. But I started as EMT in 08. So
Okay.
that's when I started. I'm sorry, 06. That's when I started the civil service route.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you started when you were 16. So you've been in the field as a volley into career. So you were a volunteer for almost 8 years before you hit into the career.
Yeah.
What made you wait so long?
So when I was 19, I started working part-time at a pretty good sized volunteer department.
Uh-huh.
Had a significant coverage of district as far as size.
Mm-hmm.
And they run about 12,000 calls a year. They have Interstate 95. So, pretty good call volume. And I could cut my teeth and, practice my EMT skills and stuff like that. So I started working there. then started working part-time. And then I started working at all these fire departments part-time, and that was how I made money. Then I got hired by a very
The rear
small,
department.
well, I started at a very small volunteer, a podunk volunteer
Mhm.
fire department that had full-time staff. They had they had three full-time paid guys. They worked shift schedule like we do,
Mhm.
24s. So I started working there, making 27,000 a year starting out. I mean, it was a stepping stone.
Right.
And I went in my interview, said, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" And I told him, I'm like, "Look, I was going to be honest. I'm trying to get hired by this department. I'm currently in the process with them. If you hire me, I'll great. But I'm telling you right now, if they call me tomorrow, I'm going over here because I mean, you move. You know, I want to go from a small department to a municipality department.
Mhm.
So I worked at the podunk department for about 2 3 years. Yeah, and finally the big boys called, and they're like, "Hey, you want a job? Hey, what do I sign?" And that's just
All
how
right.
we got.
Oh, okay. So you were taking those steps. You were just taking those steps with smaller departments as you were moving on,
Yeah,
as
I was
you're
waiting.
moving up.
Yeah, I was waiting on a phone call from basically my hometown department where I grew up in.
Ah, okay. And so you did end up getting hired there.
Yes, I got hired. My start date was August 4th, 2014.
Nice.
That was my
Okay.
first official day.
Awesome, man. And obviously we know there's a difference between volley and career, right? And then you also worked with a what we call a split department where you have shift workers and then volunteers come in.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice a difference in and the best way I can say this is in the brotherhood aspect between those departments up to your career department?
There's a different mentality,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. So, volunteers, majority of them are blue collar workers, and they get involved, and eventually they find passion.
Mm-hmm.
The need to go further and promote and advance their education and their training, and the more desire to be more involved with their community. Because with volunteer departments, you have a small area, and vast majority of the people in your area. So it's a very tight community. So everybody knows who you are. Everybody's gonna know who you are fast, and a lot of people will be very grateful, and because you're kind of like big brother. You give back to the community while trying to help yourself as far as raising funds. And the bad thing in today's society, 2020, volunteer mindset is a dying breed. I mean, it's going down fast. I hate to say it, but everything is either going to paid or they're being annexed by these municipalities, and they're getting all that land because that's what the municipalities need. They need land so they can you know, build up, grow, expand the product.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go into the career field, you have, I mean, our department. I mean, it's huge. I mean, you're talking. I can't exactly get numbers as far as square footage, but I mean, 17 fire stations. We cover a lot of area, and plus we have Fort Bragg. We have Fort Bragg neighboring up to us. So, we have well over 100,000 people probably in the city alone, and I come in every morning. I go to work, beat bopping in, and I'm usually in a good mood. And then you have some people that have just been here either way too long or disgruntled, and this is just a job for them. Not really they've either lost their passion, or most people are still passionate about it, but you have some disgruntled employees.
Mm-hmm.
But to them, the trucks aren't as bright, the sirens are just a nuisance. So I mean, it can be tough sometimes. But as far as mindset goes between volunteer and a career guy, I mean, it's pretty significant.
I've noticed that too. when I was volunteering, I noticed that the passion for volunteers was a little bit more so than, like you said, somebody that may have been in the department a little bit longer has either lost a little bit of that passion or has become complacent with the job, so to speak. And I think that's because with volunteer, you get they're not at the station 24/7, right?
Yes.
They when they do see the guys, it's on a call and that's for an hour or two at a time. You go back to the station, everybody goes back home. It's not like everybody gets off the truck, goes wash up at the station, gets dinner ready at the station, has to listen to this guy bitch and moan and complain, has to listen to this guy's story for the umpteenth time in a row. And so those kind of things, it's just like with any other family, right? When you're around your family a little bit too much, sometimes you need a little bit of a break. Same thing
Yeah.
goes with firefighters, I think, but with volunteer, you're just not around them as often. And
Hmm.
so that mentality doesn't really get to form in a volunteer service.
Hmm.
On the other hand, for me, what I have noticed with volunteers is you'll have volunteers that come in that don't do this for a living, that aren't firefighters for a living, they are something else. And they have a mentality that because they are a volunteer, because they know a little bit about the job, that they have this machismo, this idea that if you come into my department, it's my department and I know what I'm doing and shut up, don't say nothing. And that was the mentality that I ran into with one of the volunteer departments that I worked for, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was it what for me. It was one call in particular where they there was smoke coming out of the vents in a nursing home, and it was a fan motor that just kind of overheated, right?
Hmm.
Well, they go outside and look at the condenser thinking that the condenser is producing the smoke. Yeah, exactly. And just because of that and because I was trying to tell them no, it's not going to be out there and they would not listen to me. I because they had this idea that I was a new volunteer here and I don't, I wasn't a part of their family yet, even though I had experience in the career field. They just totally negated anybody's opinion on how to do something safely or different, and I just couldn't get down with that. I couldn't allow myself to be um, a subordinate to somebody that wouldn't listen to reason,
Hmm.
to experience. That was my experience. Not all volunteer departments are like that, I know that,
No.
but it was just what for me. That's what did it for me. That's why I had to get out.
Yeah. And I'm still an active volunteer with the department I started with when I was 16.
Oh,
And
nice.
I love it. I love the chief. I love everybody there. And I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I feel I have experience to bring to the table and a bit because we get these new guys and probies and juniors, and I have the ability to try to persuade them why our job is the greatest job in the world, hands
Mm-hmm.
down. I don't care what anybody says. You want to go make billions of dollars, more money, more problems. I always say, do you want to make a solid living wage, get up in the morning, ready to go to work, and not dread Monday mornings? I mean, I'm not a fan of Mondays, but I'm like, well, we got this going on today, this going on. Hey, it's gonna be a good day.
Right.
And hey, hey, I got to ride the squad. It is what it is. But I get to ride with my best buddy Leonard or my best buddy Kane, and so
Hell yeah. But that's the mentality we have, right? It's the best job in the world.
it is.
But I think it's because we don't really necessarily consider it a job. It's part of who we are. It's part of our life, and we love the life that we live, and that we're able to do this and make money doing it.
Well,
That's just a perk,
I'll
right?
tell you like I'll tell you like somebody told me, and I can't remember who it was. I think Dennis Leary said it. He said, you don't you don't join this job for the money, because if it was for the money, everybody would do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it takes a special type of person to want to do this job. I mean, politically incorrect. Someone says, I get messages all the time from like fans and stuff like that, and they say, any tips for, you know, getting hired or whatever. I'm like, one, you need to have a good attitude. The second, work on your interview skills, because your interview is either going to make you or break you. Um, Third, if you want to be a fireman, you better be prepared. Unless your wife or girlfriend or significant other makes really good money, you're going to have a second job. Um, you're going to have an improper sleep schedule, which is going to throw your personality for a whirlwind.
Yep.
There will be nights where you just don't sleep because your mind is racing, because all the stuff you have to do at home, or the stuff you got coming up, or stuff you're supposed to be doing but you haven't been doing, testing, promotions, that stuff, that's stress. That's the stress our job weighs on us.
Right.
That's not necessarily the calls. I mean, the calls plays a significant role as far as volume and, the images you see, but at the end of the day, you look to your you look to your right or your left, to your brother or your sister, and I say it all the time. Why do we do this? And they put their arm around me and said, because it's what we're programmed to do. And even though we say we're so done with this place, we're done with this job, we're going to get up in the morning, we're going to come right back and do it all over again, because we're in this together. And we're going to push each other forward and pick each other up. And then we're going to go home and turn on whatever and slam cold beer and talk about it.
Hell yeah.
And that's what we do. That's how we get over stuff.
I'm going to take that into a little bit of the whole mental health aspect of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in the fire department, you guys are union?
Mm-mm.
You guys are not union.
We're not.
Okay. Well, I think within fire departments and within, I know within the IFF, the International Association of Firefighters, the big union, mental health in the last few years has become a talking point, which I think it's it finally, right? Like, thank God it's finally happening. I think that we forget, and I think the general public forgets, especially us firefighters, that we forget sometimes that even though, yes, we do know it does take somebody a little bit crazy, a little bit, it does take a kind of person to do this job. We also forget that that person is also still human, right? We still have those emotions, we still have those stresses, we still have those, freak outs, the things that bother us as human beings. And I've noticed in the past few years, being able to talk about that has become more okay. You still have the old hats, I think, and some of the newcomers that just don't want to say anything because they don't want to cause any waves, especially the rookies. But in your department, how do you think that's being handled? Do you think it's still a taboo type of thing to talk about? Or is it becoming more okay to talk about, hey man, I got some shit going on, I need some help, or hey man, this call really fucked me up, I wasn't expecting to see something like that, you know it is your department open to helping people like that are dealing with some of those issues?
So our department has taken a very aggressive approach as far as mental health and stuff like that. Our department started I think it's called a peer support board or review council committee. I think it's a peer support committee.
Mm-hmm.
And in each fire station, there's a list of people to call. You can call whomever you want, any time of day, any time of night. Their personal phone number is on there, and if you have a problem, call them. I'll give I'll give you a prime example. I was dealing with some. I think this was about 3-4 years ago, maybe 2017, maybe. I at the time I was engaged to somebody, and I was living in, in another county. And long story short, it didn't work out. And it was we were together 3 or 4 years, and it was a process. I mean, because I don't, it wasn't necessarily the breakup. It was the whole, I have to pick everything up and move back into my parents' house, and I'm almost 30 years old.
There's a
And
complete lifestyle change.
yeah, and I mean, and I've still got to work. I've still got to pay bills, and yet get all this crap and move it over here. So it was weighing on me, and some other stuff I found out along some stuff I found out that I shouldn't have found out, but I did find out, and that is when it all. That's when I broke down
Mm-hmm.
and drove for hours, parked in a field, and was just thinking. And I made the call, and I finally got home in my driveway, and we probably talked on the phone for 3 hours. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I would be here today. But I think God pushed me into saying, "Hey, you need to make the call," because my phone kept lighting up with like emails, notifications, and I kept looking at it, looking at it, looking at it, and that just kind of pushed me saying, "You need to call somebody and talk." You know, I put God puts people in your life for a reason, whether it's for 5 minutes or for 5 years. But when He puts people in your life because there's going to be one day where He's going to depend on that person to help you. That's what I truly believe.
I appreciate you sharing that, man. Uh, take, I I really do appreciate you sharing that. It takes some courage to be able to share that you went through something like that, that you had those kind of
Right.
thoughts, because not a lot of people look at sharing something like that as a strength, right? And that, but that's the stigma that we're trying to break, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
we need to talk about it. We're human beings. We have these emotions, we have these thoughts. It happens. It's
Right.
not wrong to have them. It's okay to talk about the fact that we went through it. It's okay to talk about the fact that we're going through it. And I'm with you. I truly believe God puts people in our paths to be something or someone for us.
Mm-hmm.
We may never really know what that is until a situation like yours comes up, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But as long as we have those people and God puts those people in our lives, we might not even know the person until we need them,
Right.
right? And when we do, then we're like, holy crap, wow, thank you. Thank you for being there, for listening, for just being you.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate you sharing that. And I thank God that you came to that realization to make that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look what you're doing now, man. You're making a huge difference for a bunch of people. I mean, what, 100,000 plus followers on TikTok? Come on, man. Like you're making a fucking difference in this world. You're making a difference in this world by just sharing who you are. You're just sharing who you are. You're still you. You're not putting on a fucking act. You're just saying what's on your mind. You're giving advice the way you see it, right or wrong. It's the way you see it, and it's helping people. Period. And if it wasn't for you coming to that realization, man, who knows how many people you would have not helped,
Right.
or
Well, I
and
appreciate it.
no, absolutely, man. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted you on the show, because I can see what you're doing on this platform called TikTok. You're sharing your little stories 30 to 60 seconds at a time, and it's putting smile on people's faces. It's putting information out there for people that are thinking about becoming firefighters. It's putting information out there for people that are firefighters and that are looking for a little bit of some type of inspiration. And you're doing that for people. You're doing that for people whether you know it or not. You're doing that for people.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for your realization, if it wasn't for God stepping in, if it wasn't for that gentleman you were talking to for 3 hours, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we can talk about the who knows all day. That
Right.
doesn't matter. What matters is the here and now, and the here and now is you're making a difference. And I
Hmm.
appreciate that about you.
I'm gonna say one more thing, and
Go for
then
it.
we um the biggest challenge in this job, and I tell people all the time, is you can go home and have a knockdown drag out with your wife, kids, significant other, or have whatever breakdown, and it's a tragedy. And and you may get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, if that, and then you have to get up in the morning and go do a job and make life changing decisions and put yourself in some of the most dangerous environment and deal with some of the most bipolar personality of patients or whatever, and you have to do it at 100%, because if you don't do it at 100%, you're going to get hurt, or you're going to die, or you're going to get in trouble because you snapped on somebody, or get whatever. That is the biggest challenge in this job, and you have to first you if you're not a religious person, you need to find it, because you need God in this job, because He's going to look out for you, and He's going to provide you strength. He's going to provide you protection, and if you're not strong enough, He's going to make you strong. And that's in my opinion. But that is probably the number one thing I tell people about this, what the biggest stress behind this job is.
And I would agree with you. I would agree that having to put yourself second once you step foot in for shift is not, when I say put yourself second, it not necessarily, right? Because in training, we're always told make sure you're good for yourself first, make sure you take care of you first, make sure you're safe first. That way, you're good to help your brother or sister on the truck, and then that
Right.
way, all of you can help the community, right? But
Right.
when you're making those decisions, you're doing it on a snap, like on your training. It's almost muscle memory, and
Mm-hmm.
you almost don't even feel like you're thinking about yourself first. You're making these decisions for other people, and you're right, they could be life changing decisions. In that, if you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right, you can get hurt, your brother sister can get hurt, the community can get hurt, and so you need to make yourself right first.
Yeah.
And that is one of the hardest things. We always hear that saying, leave your shit at the door when you come in. Well, it doesn't work that
It
way
doesn't.
because
It
human
doesn't.
beings
Mm-hmm.
don't operate that way. Human
Mm-hmm.
beings don't operate that way. I'm sorry. That saying, I think, needs to just fucking stop. It's a horrible saying. You're telling people to negate their feelings and their emotions and the stresses they're going through because you think them coming to this is more important than, and it's not. It's secondary because we got to take care of ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not right with me first, I can't be right for everyone else.
Yeah. You need to go home and get your stuff squared away and talk to somebody.
Exactly.
Talking
Exactly.
to and talking to someone is the first step in either getting it right or whatever you got to do to get it right. I mean, that's on you. But you need a day, take a day. That's what
Hell yeah.
sick leave and whatever is for.
I agree 110%. Now, you mentioned religion and that you need God.
Mm-hmm.
And I would consider myself, what I tell people is I consider myself a questioning Christian, right? So I believe that God's there. I believe Jesus was put here on this earth to die for our sins. I believe that love is what is taught and what should be shown. But there's certain aspects that I have questions on, like, uh, your own gave you your own will, your power to
Mm-hmm.
choose
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So I have little questions about like that. But my point is, with you having this religious upbringing and belief system, have you found it to be difficult at times where you're on a call and you're treating somebody that you obviously know kind of goes against your moralities and your religion? Do you find it a little difficult sometimes to be like, man, this guy has 666 tattooed across his chest, or, you know, this person's doing everything wrong in life. It doesn't line up with my beliefs. Here's this man that just got done beating his wife, and now we got to treat him because he hurt his hand. all this bullshit type stuff that we have to deal with. These are calls we go on, right? Do you find it difficult sometimes, or do you find yourself almost judging that person because of your belief?
Um, no, not at all. I get it. There's people that they don't think like I do as far as religious beliefs, moral beliefs, ethic beliefs, the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, God put me here to do a job, and this this is my job. I mean, God put me here to either save, whatever you want to call it, save lives, fight fire, whatever. But no, I don't, because Jesus would never turn anybody away. I mean, he does. In some sense, he does if you go against him or whatever you want to call it. If you don't stand before him, he'll turn you away at the door.
Mm-hmm.
But God does. He would, if somebody needed help, he's going to help them. If Jesus was walking by, he's going to help them. I mean, I watch. We're all guilty of it. We all watch the most random stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, just you're laying in
Yeah.
bed, and we got portable laptops in our pockets, and we
Mm-hmm.
watch some of the most random stuff on YouTube. Well, I watched one, and it was like 10 people who went to hell, who actually saw hell, and it was one guy. He said he went in for, like, he had a heart attack or something, and he said next thing he knows, he remembers waking up in a lake of fire. And he said, and Jesus, and everybody was like screaming in agony and pain. He said, and Jesus was walking around crying for those burning in the lake of fire. And that right there just shows, our Lord and Savior has compassion. And, you know, yeah, so, I mean, I'm not the most biblically educated individual, I guess, but I mean, I do have, morals and ethics and stuff like that, and I do know from right from wrong as far as biblically Christian, the Christ, Christians and all that. But as far as, do I do I treat this person different versus this person? No, I give everybody, my full attention, the best care and training I've learned and can give. I mean, that's just how it is. When someone calls 911, they're having the worst day of their life. And what may seem like a BS call to us, it's important to them, because you don't know what that person's going through. You don't know what kind of day they've had, what kind of week they had, or year they have. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And they
Right.
called you because they need help. So, and if you want to treat them like dirt and be a shitbag, excuse my French,
No, it's
then
all good. All good.
yeah, but I mean,
So
then
it sounds like you're able to bring it back down to that basic human level, right?
right.
It doesn't matter who you are, your background, where you came from, what your belief system is. You're a human being first. And in the eyes of God, you're worthy. And because you are, whether you have sinned your entire life or not, that's not for me to judge. What's for me is to do what I believe I was put on this earth to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in your case, you believe you were put there by God to do this job, to
Mm-hmm.
help people no matter who they are. And I get it, because Jesus, I mean, look at his followers, look at
He
the
was a
people
he.
he
Well,
helped.
Jesus was a healer.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted prostitutes, he wanted thieves, he wanted the tax people, he wanted those people.
He wanted sinners.
He wanted sinners. He wanted to be in their lives. He wanted to show them that they are worthy, they are better than. And that gets lost in a lot of the conversation, I think, when it comes to Christian religion, is that people think it's this all this judgment, and it's not. It is not. It's actually the absence of judgment. It's the absence of judgment, and to show compassion and love for your fellow human being, because in the eyes of God they are worthy, period, end of story. Doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, what they believe, they're worthy. And as a firefighter, I wholeheartedly believe that you need to have that kind of mindset to do this job, because we are going to meet those kind of people that generally people would look at and be like, well, they don't deserve help. They don't, look at what they did here. Look at what they did there. They don't deserve the kind of help that I would deserve because I'm a good Christian boy. No, no. Jesus doesn't think that way. Jesus
Nope.
thinks everybody is worthy,
Yes.
period. End of story. So my job is to treat everybody the same. Now, after the job's done, can I have my own interpretation of that person, my own opinion of that person? Yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah.
it's not
That's,
going to change the way I treat them on a human
hmm
level when I'm doing my job. Period. End of story. It's not it. And it's awesome to hear that you use God and religion to be that force for you and being that determination.
hmm
You're actually one of the first ones I've talked to really deeply into how religion plays a part into you being a firefighter. So I appreciate you sharing that. I think some people think it's taboo, but
mm,
the thing is that you're a Christian firefighter. Well, we have Muslim firefighters. We have Jewish firefighters. We have uh, Hindu firefighters, Buddhists. We have firefighters that practice religion across the board, but they all have that same innate thing in that they want to help. They want to treat people as human beings. Period. End of story. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. That's why we're so diverse, right? That's why we're so different in that all of us coming from all these different backgrounds can choose to be that person that helps, no
mm,
matter who you are, right?
right.
And saying all that, I want to kind of roll into how you decided to start, or what compelled you to start sharing a little bit of your story on TikTok. What was that driving factor? How did you get started into doing that?
So for the longest time, I was Facebook ruined social media for me
Okay.
because and I'm not want to talk politics, but the 2016 election ruined Facebook.
All right.
I mean that's just one of my things. Um, it became such a toxic environment, and I'm just like I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with it all. Wash my hands of social media. Well, I remember. Well, I heard TikTok. Well, then I started hearing TikTok. My buddy Kane, Justin Kane, and he's like, "Oh, you got a TikTok?" And I'm like, "What's TikTok?" He's like, "Do you remember the app called the Vine?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I love that app. It was funny video clips." He's like, "It's the same thing. It's the new Vine." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, I'm not social media." Well, you don't have to create an account. You can just if you just want to watch videos and just scroll and laugh. I'm like, "Well, okay, yeah." So I started watching it, and I started seeing a few people I know, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." So I made one TikTok, like my first video, and it was a Jeff Foxworthy soundbite. And I mean, it was just random.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do one every now and then, maybe one. And then I did one, and the first one, I guess you want to call it viral, was was me walking into the sanctuary of my church, and the song playing, "I Could Only Imagine" playing, and it was like, they got stellar views and likes, and I was like, "Oh, cool, I'm trending, hooray!" And then I did a few more, and they were like, "Eh." But then I did one, and I figured it, and that's when I figured out this is my theme. We cooked breakfast one Sunday morning at work, and I showed everybody what I was eating, and they loved it. And I was like, "All right, cool." Well, then I did one for the dinner. I made like hamburger steaks with mashed potatoes and gravy, and they loved it. And I'm like, I got it. So the whole platform behind my TikTok is basically a behind the scenes look at the fire department. You know, it shows the camaraderie. It shows us coming together and eating. It shows some of the joking and picking we do as far as we're picking on A shift, we're picking on B shift. I mean, hell, I pick on myself more than I do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and basically try to And then I started saying, and then I started going with this, and I'm like, I can use this as a recruitment tool to get people interested in my department. Because I mean, most people who follow me are from my area. They know who I am, and they know where I work. I've got nothing to hide. I really don't.
Right.
If anything, I want people to come. I want people to come apply for my department. I want people to come want to work because I want to meet these people and I want to share my passion with them. And maybe they'll get influenced to be passionate like I have and work hard like I do.
Right.
Because one thing I would say, I work hard. I was raised on a farm. I used to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go crop tobacco and chop okra and pick watermelons, go to football practice, go back to farm some more, go back to football practice. I mean, hard work was ingrained in my DNA, me and my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was the whole idea behind the platform. And I do some like I might break out in a dance and I'll show, but I'll take the platform and I'll say, well, let's go to my house. And I'm a devoted husband. I'm a devoted stepfather, and I'm a devoted Southern Baptist. And God loves you and stuff like that. And if I can put the good word out there and say, hey, this is it, and this is where I work, and that kind of gives the community and people a little. This is here's a guy who fights fires and saves lives, and then you go home and he's just a great guy. So that's kind of like, I guess it's like our own documentary series or something like that. I don't know what you want to call it, but that was the platform I took, the approach I took. And I love
Well,
football. Love football.
it seems to be working out.
Great.
Obviously, seems to be working out. You got 100,000 plus followers, people that look up to you, and I really do think it's look up to you. Um, and I love that you're showing an aspect of a type of firefighter that is within the realm of the fire service, the fire life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not all firefighters are like you know,
No.
that and that's okay. They're just different. Doesn't make them any better or worse. They're just different. You have found a way to show who you are as a firefighter, as a husband, as a religious man, as a father. You're showing people the humanity behind the badge, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think because of that, you're actually helping that message that, hey, yes, I am a firefighter, but I'm also a human being. I'm also a man of God. I'm also a hard worker. I'm also a guy that likes football. I'm out, because there's other firefighters out there that'll do dances. I mean, Jason Patton, look at him. He
Oh,
is
that boy's
nowhere near like you. Yeah,
that
he's
guy's a
nowhere
le-
near like you.
that guy's a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend
I'm not
within the
even
fire
close to
service.
his level.
But he's a legend within the fire service, right? But he's you two are two different people, right? You guys share two different things. He's all about making what the obvious things that happen within our department, and he makes them funny, right? The calls that we go on, how we treat each other, he finds the humor in those things, and then he makes a video and he shares it, and it gives the general public an idea of how the fire service works, but he does it in a humorous manner. He takes some of the very serious issues and he finds a way to kind of make them funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's found a way to educate the general public in a way that I couldn't do. This is my platform, sharing it with, talking to people and getting people's stories to show that how different we are. But I love the fact that you're showing at different view. You're showing a different way and a different type of person that's within the fire life, within this family that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the main reasons why you even said yes to come onto the show was because you saw the name, What Makes Us Fire. You obviously knew it had something to do with firefighting, right? I mean, you saw the damn picture. It's a Maltese cross with a Halligan and axe, like, and a helmet. Okay, this guy's a firefighter. Yeah, okay, I'll talk to him. And that's something else that a lot of people don't understand, is that we can go to a convention with 500 different fucking firefighters at this convention from all around the fucking country.
Yeah.
We step into that room and we're talking to everybody like we fucking known them for years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a family aspect that it's unmatched in anything else I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to know each other to know that we respect each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of what we do.
You ever
What?
tried Jason Patton's coffee? That
Oh
fire
yeah,
department
fire
coffee?
department coffee. Yeah,
Whew,
yeah,
that's some good stuff.
yes sir.
He's got a good product.
Yeah,
It-
him and his buddy that actually, I don't know if you listen to the podcast, but him and his buddy actually, his buddy came up to him and said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. Would you mind being an ambassador?" Well, they hopped on, they blew it up, and 10% of every sell of their coffee goes to wounded firefighters and their families, which
really,
is yeah, which is freaking awesome.
that is
So
pretty cool.
everybody out there, go check out fire department coffee. Uh, Buy a bag. 10% goes to any wounded firefighter and their families to help them get through that time. So, when did you find out what you were doing on TikTok was bigger than you, was more than just an outlet for you? When did you find out it became an inspiration for others?
So any so my settings on my profile, anybody can message me. And I noticed you would talk when you were trying to get Morgan, my Morgan on your podcast. You just had to like basically comment on her videos as a hey. So my messages are open, and I get this all the time: tips on being how to become a firefighter. I'm in the process. What advice you can give me? Hey, I'm going through some problems. I need somebody to talk to. And then, and I talk, and I mean, I talk to these people the best I can because I get messages all the time, and it also helps me weed out some of the crazies that are stalking
Right.
my pro. Like, wait up, he's out, get him 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 out, and I'm like blocking people. Like, anyways, but that was when I noticed, and then of course I get messages for keep doing what you're doing. Love your content, love your recipes, and that's another thing. We're putting out. I love to cook. I have a passion to cook. Um, for a while, when I saw that movie Under Siege with what's that actor's name?
Ah, man, you're asking me
Oh,
something I don't know off the top of my
anyway, the
head.
movie with the guy who was a chef on the battleship.
Okay.
I was I always wanted to be a cook, and that's what kind of started my passion for cooking. But to get back to the point, and I get these messages, and these people are just giving either praising me or asking for advice, or like they just need somebody to talk to, and they may not. And a lot of people don't have people to talk to, and I mean, I try to respond to majority of my messages, and yeah, so that's when I realized everyone's watching you.
And
You know,
how did that make you feel? Did you feel kind of a burden of responsibility, or did you allow yourself to be like, you know what, I'll answer the ones I want? Or do you feel like, man, I really do got to try to answer every single one? How does that make you feel when you have these people, strangers, complete strangers, asking you for advice, asking for somebody to talk to, because they're asking this of you because they feel a connection to you?
mm-hmm.
They feel a connection to you personally, and you don't know who they are, but they have this connection to you. How does that make you feel knowing that this person has built a connection to you, but you have no idea who they are? You have no idea where they come from. Do you feel kind of a small burden of responsibility, or like where does your mindset go with that?
Well, I don't see it as a burden. For one, it's a privilege. I mean, you're asking me for advice when my life is not perfect. I mean, I my life's a raging storm sometimes, but I mean, and I give the best advice I can give. Like, man, whatever you want me to tell you. Um, I don't necessarily ignore people. I mean, sometimes when I finally get the messages, I get sidetracked easily. Like, I'll read it and then I'll go do this and then do this, and then I'm like, crap, I forgot. And I need to do a video of like tips on becoming a firefighter, cooking tip and like what cooking tips, basic cooking tips 101 or stuff like that, and stuff like that. But I mean, but the ones that hit the most is when someone's having a problem and they turn to me. Like, I got problems. Can you talk? And I'm like, what's going on? And, and they'll tell me their problems, whether it's their wife, girlfriend, or stuff, or something they saw. Or then the next one, they're like, do you believe in Jesus Christ? Or are you religious? And probably 30% saying not really. And then that is when, in my mind, okay, here's a chance for me to make somebody a believer, to follow, to pick up the Bible or walk in a church and talk to somebody and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's people in this world who are lost. Preacher man told me 2 Sundays ago. Yes, 2 Sundays ago. He said, "Do you know if you're going to heaven or hell?" And I think somebody said, "I'm 99.9999% sure I'm going to heaven." If you're not 100% sure you're going to heaven, then you're lost. You're 100% lost. And and I'll take that opportunity to try to put people on the path to learn about Jesus and Christian and his work and stuff like that. And just something like that.
Have Are those kind of messages coming from fellow firefighters from around the country, or have you noticed it kind of everybody's kind of looking to you to kind of help?
I think it's just everybody, because because everybody's got their profile set up different. Like, if I know somebody, like if you got a Maltese cross and a 2 fire truck videos in your profile, okay, I'm assuming you're either a volunteer or some type of firefighter in some aspect,
Mm-hmm.
or in this service of related to this service somehow. So, and then I think some people are just general people that either don't have anybody to talk to or lean on. And, you know, they see me on TikTok or whatever platform, and, maybe they see me as a leader or something like that, or somebody that can try to help them through it. And I'll talk to them a little bit, and I can do the best advice I can. But it's an honor, it's a privilege. I try to be humble about myself and try to help others, even if it's just through a few messages, or try to put them on a path of helping them.
Do you think that because you're a firefighter, they have almost a small expectation that you are willing to help no matter what the problem is?
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I would agree with that.
I've noticed that even for being on the job and when we go on calls, I have noticed that sometimes people will call just to have people show up, right? We get those calls sometimes of the persons that just lonely. I mean, they'll tell dispatch they're having trouble breathing, but when we get there, they're just like, thank you for being here. Obviously, they don't really have any trouble breathing. They just wanted to talk. They needed some time. They needed a human interaction, and they know that we're going to show up. Those calls for me are a little difficult because I'm fighting this feeling of feeling bad and sorry for this person that they're in this position where they feel that way, but at the same time, I'm a little bit upset because now they've taken a unit out for somebody that may actually have a true emergency, whether it be medical or fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I fight this feeling inside of I feel so bad for this person that they felt like they had to use 911 just to get that human interaction. But at the same time, why the hell are you calling us? This isn't an emergency. There could be a kid choking or drowning. There can be a guy having a heart attack. There can be a house catching fire right now, and we're out of service coming to talk to you. So it's a hard balance to find. I guess the reason why I bring that up is, do you find that sometimes some of these people that do message you, do you think it's more of attention seeking sometimes and not necessarily something that they couldn't handle on their own? Have you come across that at all?
Hmm. Well, I don't think I have. I think if someone's literally, like, I've had some put out paragraphs of problems and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and I'm just like, whoa. And I'll try to take it with the best approach I can with either previous life experiences or going on calls and dealing with the same problem. Um, yeah, I mean, why would you tell your personal problems to a complete stranger? I mean, I wouldn't do other, maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure about other people, but no, I don't see it as more of attention seekers or fanboying or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Where do you want to go from here? From where you're at now as this influencer on TikTok, because you are, whether you're going to admit it to yourself or not, you're a bit of an influencer on TikTok. You're a bit of an influencer for other firefighters and future firefighters through that platform. You're an influencer for people that are just finding you on TikTok and liking your content. You're somebody that's putting a message out there that people obviously enjoy, like, and learn from. Where do you go from here with that platform? And then what are your plans the next 5 years for your career?
Um, as far as my platform, I'm just having fun with it, and I'm just putting out firehouse cooking recipes and maybe a little bit of vlogging, and I'm just having fun with it more or less. And so that, I mean, that's pretty much that. I mean, TikTok could be TikTok could be here today, but gone tomorrow. I mean, because for a while we didn't know we were going to have TikTok 3 months ago. I
Right.
mean, we didn't. So I'm just having fun with it. Now as far as my career, I'm going to test next year for promotion for lieutenant. I have to get it's called OCS, officer career. It used to be called ODP, officer development program, and now it's like OCS. It's like a hybrid course now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the S stands for in OCS, but that's my plan. Obviously my roots here in North Carolina. My whole family's here. My brother's here. My nieces and nephews are here. You know, everything I got is here. I'm born and raised here. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm on the hazmat team for my department. I'm on the state hazmat team. As far as like chief level, I have no intentions of doing that. I mean, I love the truck too much. I could see myself going like maybe to the training division one day or fire prevention, because
Mm-hmm.
the fire prevention, because the fire marshal in our department, he's been watching my TikToks and what I'm putting out, and he's like, dude, I love it, I love it. Anyway, you could throw some safety in there, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that before? That's a great idea. So so now we got something going, and
That actually brings me to a good question. What has your department and or city thought about this content that you're putting out? Have you had any pushback or any buddy coming to you and be like, "Hey, man, you might want to be careful about putting this on there or that on there"? Have you had any type of pushback from your department or the city that you work for?
so everybody at my department likes my platform except for one individual,
Mm-hmm.
and there and right now we're kind of right now I'm kind of cover the logo and everything like that. um everybody's found out about the pushback from the certain individual, and they're like, why? You're like, he's putting out a good message. People are calling the department wanting to know, where do I sign up, how do I apply, and this, that, and the other, because they see me on TikTok working at this department for this city, that they live in this city or adjacent to this city, and they want to come work here because they saw me on TikTok, and they see some of the guys and girls and gals and all that, and they're like, this is a good crowd. This is like a good work environment. I want to do this, because you got people who are just like going through life like they're working part time at a restaurant or slinging beers at a bar, or maybe working a dead end job, and there's really no advancement. And they see me and they're like, I know where that's at. I want to go. I want to go apply or inquire.
Mm-hmm.
The first step. The first step to getting a job is to inquire within, start finding out. Well, they see my platform and they're like, well, there it is. Okay, I like that. Let me go talk to somebody. And that's how you start.
I agree too. However, we do know as civil service personnel, firefighters, cops, EMTs, dispatch, even teachers, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have to be very careful. You kind of give up a little bit of that First Amendment right, especially if you're wearing something that has the affiliation on there, right?
Right, because
You
what
have
they're
to
saying
be,
to you.
yeah, you have to be careful about what you say. You still want to get what you think and what you feel out there, but you
Mm-hmm.
feel a little restrained by the powers that be.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was I wanted to be upset about it. I really did. I want to be mad. But
Yeah, I know.
at the same time, I understand that they don't want a situation where you get judged by public opinion, the public opinion court,
Right.
where you might say one thing wrong in the eyes of someone, and all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden you have a petition signed against you in the
Oh
city and
yeah.
all that other stuff. So I get why they want to be concerned with it. But I think if generally you have a good message and you're putting good content out there and good information and things that are going to help people, I don't understand why the city and departments can't back you on it. I don't I don't understand it, but I understand it if that makes sense at all.
Right.
They're covering their ass. They're CYAing.
And it's like what you said. Right now, you are the face of this department on this platform,
Right.
and all eyes are on you.
Hmm.
So, and we keep our stuff clean. We don't curse. We don't talk politics. You know, the whole 9 yards. But I think they're just worried, or like all it takes is half a second for you to either do something or say something, and which is why we try to keep it simple. I do the cooking and the showing of the recipes, and we show the fire station around because right now during COVID, you can't come and visit a fire station. I
Right.
mean, I mean that's it is what it is. So now everything's gone virtual. Well, I mean, how can I give back? Well, let's show them around the fire station. Let me show them. Well, here's your tax dollars. A $1.5 million Pierce, platform ladder truck. It's beautiful. Look at it. All right, let's show you where we sleep. Let me show you where we eat. Let me show you the bathroom. Let me show you the workout room. Let me show you the Pepsi machine. I mean, just stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think the general public would understand a lot more about us as firefighters and the fire department in a good light if we were able and not restricted on what we can say and do. Prime example, just a few weeks ago, there was a news story of New York City firefighters dragging people out of a fire, in a structure. I don't know if you heard of or saw it, but they got so much flack and pushback. Like, how can they drag those people like that? How could they have just dragged them like that out of a fire? That looks so inhumane. Like, they didn't care. How come they didn't try to make them more comfortable as they're pulling them out? And I'm like, well, sweetheart, dude, whoever you are complaining about this, that's actually how we're trained, right? Because in a fire, the smoke starts up high, comes down low. So when we drag them on the floor, even though we're dragging them by the collar or wrapped them in a sheet, whatever, we dragging them by the hand,
Right.
we're keeping them out of that death zone.
Mm-hmm.
It might not look pretty. It might not look pretty. It might look a little rough. But I tell you what, they would much rather have a sore arm or back than be dead. So if we're
Right.
able to show that kind of stuff on social media, you have 100,000 plus followers. If you were able to show a little bit of your training and how you guys are taught to keep people out of those type of environments and how to save them, and a whole bunch of people saw, oh, that's why. Oh, okay, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think that those New York City firefighters probably wouldn't have had as much pushback and flack and being berated by these people that were just uneducated.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if departments and cities can see that and would be more okay with that, then they would understand, and you wouldn't be judged by that court of public opinion. You're
Right.
you're 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 heading it off. You know what I mean? You're getting in front of it. But
Right.
because we're so restricted on what we can say, what we can share, not a lot of people understand the training that we go through. And that goes for all civil service, us, PD, EMS, dispatch. They don't understand why we talk the way we talk, say the things we say, do the things we do, feel the way we feel when we go to these calls. And so when somebody with a fucking iPhone pulls it out and starts recording something
Oh
that
yeah.
doesn't make sense to them or that looks bad to them, they don't understand. No, this is how we were trained to do it to make sure the situation doesn't get worse.
Mm-hmm.
If we're able to put that out there, I think that would help a lot in putting the civil service aspect, the realm, in a better light for the general public.
Yeah.
But until that idea snaps with the higher ups, the higher, that's above my pay grade type people, we're
Right.
we're we're kind of stuck. We're stuck in this what we can say, do, and what we can put out.
Right. And it is what it is. I mean, I love where I work. I love my chief. I love my battalion chief and the people upper admin. They're good people. We may buck heads. We may disagree, but they look out. They look out for each. They look out for me mainly, and that's what they're doing. And you can call it pushback or whatever. We can get mad. It is what it is. But they're looking out for me. They're looking out for themselves. Looking out for the department, and you know, it is what it is. But I would never ever provide a negative image on my department or the people we work that work side by side or the people we serve because my city, it has it can have people have portrayed a negative image on certain areas of my city, and you say what you want. This is my home. This is where I grew up. This is my house. These are my
Mm-hmm.
people. You know, the drunks, the drugs, the homeless. Whatever you want to call it, they're still my people, and I'm gonna serve them as if you made $100,000 a year or you made $0 a year. I'm gonna serve you. I'm gonna treat you the same way as I do this individual and that individual.
Exactly. Exactly. And if we are able to share that a little bit more, I think we wouldn't have to deal with the bullshit that comes along with it on the
Mm-hmm.
outside.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start wrapping this up a little bit. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
shit, we've been talking for about almost an hour, 15 minutes now.
Yeah.
Um, we went through a lot of good conversation, man. And Nick, I want to say thank you again.
Oh yeah.
But towards the end, when I start wrapping it up, I usually ask about 3 questions of all my guests.
Okay.
The first one's kind of a 2-part question. And it might spark another 30-minute conversation. It might not. It might be a 1-word answer. Who knows? But I ask them anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my first question to you is if, say, Nick, the TikTok firefighter, if he was doing this podcast and Nick, the TikTok firefighter, was the guest, what would you have asked yourself, or what piece of information would you have liked to share that I didn't ask or we didn't get to?
Well, man, that's a broad topic. I get this. I get this. Well, I get this question a lot. Why do you love your job so much? And I'll be honest, the food, because I love to eat. I love to eat.
Oh
Well,
man.
that's part of being the Southern Baptist. And one thing we're good at is we're good at worship and we're good at eating.
Hell yeah.
And
Those fish fry Fridays, man, I drive by them
yeah,
almost every Sunday.
oh yeah, and I love to work out, and I get paid to work out. When we have good gym equipment that my department provides us, and I mean, to me, and they're very big on fitness and all that, which is great. I don't know, and the schedule's great too. Don't get me wrong. And I think that about, I mean, we covered a lot of we covered a lot of ground here in the short duration of our episode here. But
Now,
I think
what you said kind of brought up another topic real quick that I want to hit on real quick, and
okay,
that's why I said these questions can bring up other stuff.
right,
Now, we have had and we have seen the videos of the public kind of harassing firefighters that may have gone to the store to pick up groceries
okay,
for the day, right? We've seen videos and we've heard people talk about how can you guys get paid when you're working out? Why are we paying you to work out? We're supposed to be paying you to be going on calls. We're supposed to be paying you to fight fire. We're supposed to be paying you not to be cooking and eating and going to the grocery store. Why are my tax dollars being spent this way? What answer would you give them? And then I'm going to give my answer because I want to answer this as well. This is something I haven't been able to really touch on. But what answer would you give those people that are having issues and problems with firefighters going to the store and picking up food on shift, obviously, right? Or sitting down at a restaurant with all their radios on the table and stuff like that. We've had people come up to us and say, "How can you guys be getting paid? Why am I paying you guys right now to be out eating?" What would you tell them?
well, one, I tell people, well, we don't fight fire every day, but I mean, now majority the time, we may have a fire, once a day, but I mean, we don't fight. I mean, not everybody's house catches on fire. Somebody's house doesn't catch on fire every day in this district or in the adjacent district. Um, we're not always running calls. I mean, we have what you call a downtime and stuff like that. We're there for 24 hours. We have to eat. We put our bodies through this physically demanding job where we may have to work 5 to 6 hours at a time. So we got to put fuel in the tank. So that's one thing. And we're always available for a call, whether we're at the grocery store or at Burger King getting a Whopper with fries and a Coca-Cola. When they say engine 1 or engine 5, okay, let's go. Just drop everything, go. Um, that's really all I can say to that. And a lot of times I've been asked that question, and a lot of times I say, "Ma'am, I told you everything I could. I'm sorry my answer was not good enough. If you would like more clarification on it, you can call this number and ask to speak to the fire chief, and maybe he can bring it into spectrum." But the one thing you hit on was the working out thing. Why are you working out? Blah blah blah. So the number one killer for firefighters, and this, besides cancer, is heart attacks.
The number one line of duty death for firefighters on the fire scene is heart attack. That is
Cardiac
correct.
or cardiac issues,
Correct. Yes.
whichever, however you want to blanket it. So, we have to stay fit, and we have to maintain our physical fitness, because I mean, you're going from a dead sleep to 100 miles an hour at the drop of a dime. I mean, and that's very stressful on the heart. And not to mention the sirens and the adrenaline. It's not very good for the heart. So we have to maintain this cardio and keep your heart healthy, and you got to maintain your strength, because the EMS bags are getting heavier, the stairs are getting steeper, and the gear is somewhat getting lighter and more dexterity, but you're putting a lot of strain on your shoulders, your back, your legs, more or less anything else. So you got to maintain your physical fitness, and it's very important in this job, because if you have poor physical fitness, one, you're a liability for yourself, and then you're a liability for others. Because if you go down, there's going to be 100 firefighters. They're be tearing this building apart, to get you out. Because if you hear a Mayday call, you're going to see everybody pick their head up like, oh my God, this is Nick's in trouble or John's in trouble. And they're all going to go like this.
Exactly. They're all going to come together.
And they'll tear down concrete until their body gives out to get you to safety, whether they like you or they don't. They want you to go home at the end of the shift.
Exactly. Now, the way I like to explain it to people when I hear that question is, yes, we do get paid to run calls. Yes, we do get paid to fight fire. But what you're forgetting in all this, when we have that quote unquote downtime, and it is downtime, we're either training, we're either keeping the station that you pay for clean, we're either keeping our bodies in shape, which you pay for, to make sure that I am in top peak performance if, God forbid, you ever needed me.
Right.
Yes, you are paying for that. You are paying me to do what you are not willing to do.
Right.
That's what you are paying me for. That's where your tax dollars go to. Your tax dollars pay people to do a job that others are not willing to do. And part of that job is working out. I got to make sure I stay healthy. That way, if God forbid you ever needed me, I am in the best shape that I am in to give you the best service I can give you.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm at the grocery store and we're getting food, that's during downtime. And it's like Nick said, if a tone drops, we're leaving all our groceries in the damn cart in the middle of the fucking aisle, and
all
we're
the time.
out.
Happens all the time.
Because we're out shopping or we're getting lunch or dinner or breakfast or whatever, that does not take us off the clock. We are on that clock 24/7 on call. If a tone drops, we are gone. We are on our way. That doesn't change. But your money pays for men and women to do something that you and somebody else is not willing to do. That's what it is. We don't get paid to run calls 24/7. We get paid to run the calls that you're not willing to do or unable to. I got to rephrase that. Not necessarily. You might be willing, but you might be unable. So we're running those things that you may be unable to do. And that's my point of view on it. There's nothing wrong with firefighters going out and getting a meal or going to the grocery store. We're there for 24 hours. And if there's a radio on our hip, if that tone drops, we're gone. We're going to help. That shit doesn't matter to us as soon as that tone hits. Doesn't matter. We're going.
Sometimes it's 48. Sometimes it's 48 hours.
Yeah. Sometimes it's
whether it's regular duty or you're working overtime the next day.
Exactly. And there's some departments that their tour is a 48-hour tour. So know that in those 48 hours, they're supposed to be there. So for 48 hours, you are going to get the best you can possibly get from them.
At 2:00 in the morning or 2:00 in the afternoon.
Doesn't matter. We're there. But yeah, you brought that up and I was just like, that's a good question. So I had to ask, man.
Oh, that's all good.
My second to last question that I ask all my guests, and I'm going to ask you, and like I said, no holds barred. Ask whatever you want. Is there any question you have for me that you want to know about me? That anything, you can ask me anything you want to know, anything. If I can answer it, I'll answer it as honestly as I can, like you've been answering, because I respect that of you. And so I'm going to show the same respect.
You said you're from Texas?
Yes, sir.
Dallas or Houston for football?
Man, Dallas all the way, brother.
America's team. I like it.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
Dallas all the way, man. Grew up Dallas Cowboys fan. I'll be a Dallas Cowboys fan till the day I die. I grew up when Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, and Michael Irvin were the shit.
There you go.
Yeah,
all right.
So
Is barbecue a noun or a verb?
Both.
So
It's
are you
both.
having a cookout or are you having a barbecue?
We're having well, okay, so
You get what I'm saying?
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Barbecue is not a verb. It is
No,
to me it's
no.
food.
Yeah, barbecue is food. Yeah, I get that.
Yes.
But it can be both in that if all you're doing, so to me, a cookout is like you have a whole bunch of shit. You have hot dogs, you have chicken, you have brisket, you have whatever, right?
I'm
But for
coming if
me,
that's your house, I'm coming to Texas and hang out with
that's a
you.
cookout. That's a cookout to me. A barbecue is you ain't having any white meat. The barbecue is your brisket, your ribs, your pulled pork, the shit that barbecue is meant
we
to
call
go
that
on.
a smoke sesh.
Yeah, there you go. That's a barbecue. So that's what when I said it can be both, right? So a cookout is a little bit of everything. A barbecue is just your red meats. And that's why it's kind of both to me. But barbecue, you're right. Barbecue is a food group in that,
All
you
right.
could have pulled pork, you got brisket, you could have ribs. That's barbecue to me.
All right.
So
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
as long as it has jalapenos,
Oh yeah, I like your style. Sweet and spicy at the same time.
hell yeah.
I love
And anybody out there that says pineapple on pizza ain't a thing, you know what? Screw you. Throw a little bit of jalapenos, get a little bit of spicy and sweet with that marinara. Oh boy, I like it. I'll take it every day.
All right. How do you like your steak?
Medium rare.
Yes. Me
Medium
too.
rare.
Medium rare.
Yes, so it's got to have a little bit of blood. Got to have a little bit of blood.
I asked somebody, how do you like your steak? He said, I want it where a good vet can bring it back to life. And I'm like, oh my God.
Now I have tried a rare steak before.
Yeah.
And that was just, I mean, shit. I couldn't even cut through the fat because it wasn't even cooked through all the way. Like that was like, all right. Medium rare is where it's at for me. Medium rare, just a step above rare.
All right. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this. Is A1 okay to dip in your steak?
Oh, ooh.
And here's my philosophy.
Okay. So let me answer the question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with adding a little bit of flavor to a bland steak. And if A1's there, I'll use it if the steak is bland. Like if I think that steak needs a little bit extra something, I have no problem using A1. However, I will not use A1 all the time. For me, it's as needed condiment.
Okay.
So I will use A1 if I think it needs it.
So my thought process on that is, would you dunk your French fries in ketchup? Yeah. All right. I like dunking my steak in A1.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. I mean, I usually have it there, and do I dip it every time? More or less, yes. Because I mean, I like A1. I think it's good. I mean, especially that's just me. I put A1 on almost everything. I put it on my burgers. I put it on my chicken. I put it on pork.
Yeah, well, for me, it's Tabasco. Like I have some friends that are strong Italians, and I went over there. He's a childhood friend of mine, and he's my brother. We've been friends for so long. We just say brothers. But it got to the point where I put Tabasco on the spaghetti that they cooked at their house in high school one time, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, it needed a little bit of spice." So every time I was over at their house, they ended up they bought me because their whole family, they're Italian and German. That's the two. They bought me my own Tabasco bottle for whenever I came to the house and ate with them. Awesome. I just put Tabasco on everything, man. It's just one of my things. So I'll even put Tabasco on a fucking steak, hands down. I mean, I'll put Tabasco on.
Oh yeah, I love hot crap. I love hot food. Spicy, bring it on. My dad heats jalapenos like they're pickles.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And he's a true-blooded blue-collar American.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that. Me and your
he'll take a ghost pepper and bite it in half and go a little mild, and I'm just like, you're insane.
Yeah,
like you're insane.
Oh, dude, the worst experience I had with hot peppers is we were cutting up habaneros to put in with some fajitas. We were gonna
Hmm.
saute some habaneros and onions. I thought I washed my hands well enough.
Oh no, you didn't.
I went to the bathroom
Mm.
and you got to control where the stream's going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in doing that, I caused a burning sensation down there. And it didn't go away for like 2 hours, man. And you can't pour milk on it. It ain't going to do nothing. And that'd just be weird.
You could, I mean, you could.
I
It'd be a
mean,
good
yeah,
story to tell.
yeah. But yeah, that's the worst I've had with, that's the worst story I have with spicy peppers. You got any other questions, man? I like this shoot and go.
No, it's no, I think that's pretty much all I got.
Awesome.
Oh, last one, last one,
All right.
and we're still on steaks.
Okay.
All right, do you eat the whole steak, fat and all, or just the meat?
Everything.
Yes,
Every fucking
like
thing.
it.
Uh my family, especially my wife, she doesn't understand. I was like, there, like all that smoke flavor and all the charcoal flavor, that flame flavor gets stuck in that fat. And so you cut a little bit of fat with the bite of that steak. Oh fuck yes. Mm.
This cow died for me. I'm not gonna let it go to waste.
Exactly. Fuck yeah. Exactly. No, yeah. I eat a little bit of the fat. Man, like if you give me a T-bone, I'm literally like I'll be picking up the T-bone and
Yep,
gnawing
that's
off any little bit I can get.
yep,
Any
that's
little
the
bit I can get. There's some
that's the
cartilage in there. I'm eating the cartilage because it's chewable. I can chew it. Yeah, it might be a little bit crunchy, but I can chew it and I can swallow it. I'll be fine. It's going down the hatch.
yep. And then I'll give the bone to my dog Lucy, and she will be in beef heaven.
Hell yeah. They get to that marrow. If I could get to the marrow like those dogs can, I'd eat the marrow too.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, no, yeah, I'll eat a little bit of fat. I'll eat all the fat on that damn
I eat
steak.
it
Fuck
all.
yeah.
I don't
Hell yeah.
bring it on.
Hell yeah. All right. I switched. It's now going to become 4 questions.
All right.
You ever thought about creating a cookbook, your own cookbook?
No, and I'll tell you why. All my recipes, the only thing I measure when I cook is rice and water.
Well,
Everything
yeah, you
else,
have to. You kind of have to,
yeah,
because
you
then
have to.
the rice will be fucked up if
I
you don't.
mean, I mean, if Gordon Ramsay, he follows me on
Hmm.
TikTok, which in my opinion is like the holy grail of.
Holy shit! You have Gordon Ramsay following you on
He
TikTok?
only follows 40 people, but he's gonna follow small hick town me, which I don't know why.
Well, you put a lot of badass fucking recipes out there.
And see, I don't measure anything. Everything is eyeball. I mean,
Right.
it's like, yeah, a little more. And one thing he told, always taste test your food. You make sure you got it. Yeah, a little more. Not too much. Put this in to dial it back. All right, we got it. Leave it alone. And that's just how I roll. I mean, I could put some stuff together, but they're gonna be like, well, you don't measure. I never measure. Because see, when Clarissa cooks, my wife, she's like, where's our teaspoons? I don't have none. Well, the recipe called, what's a quarter teaspoon? I don't know. Just do it like that. Just do like that. Recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of sugar. Just go across the top. And she's just like, that doesn't work like that. And I'm like, well, I've made it 20 years doing it like that, and I
Came
ain't
out
killed
great
nobody.
every damn
I've
time.
not killed anybody yet or sent anybody to the hospital.
All right. Well, you could always make a cookbook and say, just put as much as you want.
Yeah. I mean,
You can put a general guideline.
yeah. But as far as a cookbook, I've never really had an intention of doing it. Now, if somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, I'm a book publisher. I want to get together and create a cookbook with your words," all right, sure. I mean, if you want to make a profit, I'm sure, go ahead.
Right. Well, I think from what I've seen, because I saw one the other day where you had some steak tips and you threw in some cream of mushroom, cream of
Oh
chicken,
yeah,
cream of
last
this,
night
cream of that.
we
Yeah.
caught.
Oh man, that looked good. I was like, God dang, takes 3 hours to cook. If you're taking 3 hours to cook something, you know damn well that's gonna be fucking good.
And it was good.
Yeah, I bet it
It was
was.
it was the meat was tender, it melted in your mouth, all the flavors incorporated, and it was good. I mean, they were scraping. Them boys were scraping the pan last night, and
Hell
they were
yeah.
taking the gravy and putting it in a bowl with the broth and all the mushroom stuff, and they were eating it like soup.
Fuck yeah. I would too. I would too. You don't waste that. You don't
Nah,
waste with all the fat and the juices from the meat now in with all that
they were
soup.
getting loaves of bread out and just scooping the just shoveling shoving.
Yeah,
All
yeah. They were being firefighters when it comes to
yeah,
food. That's what they were doing.
yeah. And we're it didn't like we're gonna sleep good tonight, and we didn't sleep. So
Nah. That's one of the worst things. One of the worst things is when you're on the pot and then a tone drops.
or throwing up Chinese food in your mask. Don't ask me
Yeah,
how I know. Don't want to ask me how I know.
That sucks. When you
And for anybody that's listening, do not eat a whole plate of Chinese food on a hot summer day like in July and expect. No. I don't care. If you think you're gonna have a slow day, it's not gonna be.
It ain't gonna be a slow day.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Don't do it. Mm-mm. All right, brother. Last question.
Go.
The show's called What Makes Us Fire. Right?
Right.
What do you think it is that makes us fire? What do you think that is that makes you fire? That makes you the type of person to do the job we are doing? What do you think it is in us with all the different, we're all different, right? We're all different backgrounds. We're all different beliefs. We're all different everything. Skin colors, religions, sexual orientations, everything. We're all different. But we all came to do this, be a civil servant. What do you think it is that made us fire this job, this civil service type of person?
It's the people. I mean, the people are what makes this job great. You go to anybody that either quit voluntarily or retired, fired, whatever you want to call it, and you see him on the street. Hey, you has life, blah blah blah. You miss firefighting, and the number one answer you always hear, well, I miss the people. I miss the people. I miss the people I work with, the food, the camaraderie. That's what makes this job fun and great. It's just the people. Now, if you don't like, if you don't like the people you're with, if they're bringing you down, don't necessarily quit. Maybe change your scenery, put in a transfer or do whatever. Go to a different shift. Go to a different station. If station 5, if they're all having a good time and they all work together really well and they pick each other up and they all hang out at when on 4-day break, I want to go hang out with those guys. You want a good work environment. You don't want a toxic work environment, and that's what drives people away from the fire service or the job itself. But it's the people, and we're all different. I mean, we have people of different religion. We have Muslims, and we have gays and stuff like that. But let me tell you something. I played football. There was no this guy's this color or this religion. We're all the same. We all want to win. We want to play a good game. We want nobody to get hurt, and we want to win. So, and that's what it is. And the people is what makes us fire.
So the brotherhood,
the sisterhood, the family. It's just all fun. We're all one big happy dysfunctional family.
Exactly. I love that. I love how you said it was the family that makes us who we are.
Yeah. Put it on a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt.
Hell yeah. What makes us fire? A question mark right under it. Family. The family.
We the people. We the people. We the family, whatever you want to call it.
We the firefighters.
That's you go.
What makes us fire. I think that is a damn good answer, because even when we go home, what is our foundation? What is everything we are that we have built ourselves up on, that we aspire to help, to support? That's our family, man. And because of that, when we have this secondary family, our brotherhood, our sisterhood, our brothers and sisters in the department, they are our foundation.
Mm-hmm.
They are our second foundation. And it's because of them that we love to do what we love to do. That's a damn good answer, man. I like it.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Well, Nick, brother, I appreciate you coming on the show again. We went through a lot of stuff, brother. We went through a lot of stuff. I loved you being open about your time that you went through a little bit of a crisis. I love you being open about your religion and what it means to you and how it helps you serve your community and your brothers and your sisters. I love your content on TikTok. Keep it up, man. You're an inspiration to a lot. You're changing lives in more ways than one, in more ways than just being a firefighter. You're changing lives 30, 60 seconds at a time, sharing your
Hmm.
story and just being open, man. So keep it up. What makes us fire family? This is Nick. Nick, where can they find you, brother? Where can people listen and follow you at?
Fireman 1231 on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Purple Pirate One. Give me a follow. You know, and I hope you like it. If you don't, that's okay. I still love you.
Reach out to him. Remember, he said that he tries to respond to those messages. So if he sounds like somebody you can talk to and he can help you out, he sounds like somebody that's more than willing to help. So am I. Nick, I want to tell you, if you have anybody that you think might need to reach out and you're not able to help, send them my way. I'm more than willing as well.
Yeah. All
So
right. Well, you got my number, man. If you ever need anything, give us a holler.
same thing,
We
brother.
ain't but like 10, 6, 7 states away.
Yeah, it
Only
ain't
about
much.
it's only a 20-hour drive.
Nah, it ain't much at all. What makes us fire family? Y'all stay safe out there. Have fun. And remember, let's show some peace out there. We never know exactly what somebody's going through. Peace.
See y'all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what makes us fire family? That was Nick Hammond, the TikTok firefighter chef. I hope you guys learned something by listening to him and just talking about his faith and where his idea about becoming a firefighter and doing this job and what it means to him. You guys, he had some amazing insight. And the fact that this man doesn't allow people to break him is just amazing. He's showing strength and having his faith guide him. And there's nothing wrong with that. Please remember to follow What Makes Us Fire on all the social media platforms. You have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter with the handle at What Makes Us Fire. You can also follow the YouTube channel where you get to see the faces behind the voices with What Makes Us Fire's One Word Space podcast. Please go subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a nice review or a nasty one, doesn't matter. And then, of course, if you guys want to email me, you can always email me at whatmakesusfire@yahoo.com and just reach out. I'm here. I love helping. I love talking. And I hope you guys are enjoying. You guys have been amazing. You're continuing to share. You're continuing to listen. And I fucking love you for it. So, without saying anything else, what makes us fire family? Get out there, have fun, stay safe. And like I always say, let's show some peace. Because we never know exactly what somebody might be going through. Much love.